Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What's Up Bolts. I'm Fernando Ramirez, and that guy over there looking comfortable in that big old sweatshirt, the cowboy hat wearing, sunglass don, and son of a gun,
Woo!
and Daygo. Look at him, all excited. Somebody has a playoff football game, I guess, this Friday, and that's why he must be so hyped, aren't you?
Oh, you already know my boy. I've been fired up since freaking Monday. Couldn't sleep Monday night. Been eating like a fiend Monday to now. Been drinking soda like a fiend Monday to now. Your
What?
boy's fired up. He can't wait for some Friday Night Lights.
Oh my God, it's gonna be exciting, definitely. But Dan, speaking of lights being on, the Chargers this weekend, they play the San Francisco 49ers under the bright lights
Yep.
of I was gonna call it Candlestick Park. And no, it's Levi Stadium now. Candlestick is obviously back when they were
R.I.P.
their
dude.
place. Now they're in Santa Clara.
Pour a
But
drink out for him.
exactly. Should be an interesting matchup. I mean, obviously, there's no way to sugarcoat this. The Chargers are coming off um uh 20-17 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. They won the game towards the end by Cameron Dicker. Keep on trying to call him Cameron Kicker, but no, it's Cameron Dicker who hit the game winning field goal at the end. Yes, it was an ugly game, but the Chargers were able to squeeze it out at the end. 49ers are coming off their bye week. And the interesting part, Dan, is that the so obviously before the trade deadline, they made the big trade by going out and getting Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
They play against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs blew them out. But the 49ers had a lot of injuries, not a lot of guys played. But the interesting part about it was we only got to see a little bit of Deebo Samuel with Christian McCaffrey. Deebo didn't play the week after against the LA Rams, and Christian McCaffrey was a one-man show, and literally they blew out the LA Rams without Deebo Samuel. Now this is going to be the opportunity to watch Deebo Samuel and him and George Kittle this weekend. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. But first, before we do that, let's go back a little bit to the Atlanta Falcons game, just because one of the things that I noticed that the Chargers hadn't done in a while was third down play. Third down, the Chargers, I mean, when healthy, they're one of the better teams in the NFL on third down. In this game, they were 8 for 16. Now, at one point, they were like 6 for 8 or 7 for 8, or no, they were 6 for 8. But towards the end of the game, it's kind of when they kind of everything slowed down, and it was a little bit of a rough ending to the game.
Rough
But
stretch,
at the beginning, they looked pretty good. So now let's see why they look so good. The thing about what's up, Bolts, is we got a guy here who's
about to say.
He's a coach. He analyzes things. He gets to see. So now it is time for everybody's favorite segment, Dan review. Well, today we're gonna call it something different. Instead of Dan reviews O-line, let's change it to Dan reviews third down film. Because I know people like when Dan reviews film, so let's go with that. And for that, we have a special little segue into this.
I said right foot creep.
Yes, fool. Just playing Justin Jefferson doing the gritty.
And the little song. So there you go. That's how we get it. That's how we get it warmed up.
Oh, does the gritty have an official song?
I think it does. Yeah, obviously every
more idiotic things I don't even care about. Wow. My God.
All right. So now let's go with so these are some of the third down things that we saw. So Dan, can you just go? This is where he gets the ball to Josh Palmer. It's a pretty good play, but can you just break it down for us a little bit? Kind of what you're seeing?
Look at that. Here we go. Nice clean pocket. They got a stunt going. They pick up the stunt perfectly. On both sides, they wash them. Look how much space is there, right? Because at first they were pretty flat through the line, trying to confuse Herbert to make him think pressure's coming. But I assume guys bailed out because it doesn't seem as many in the backfield. Look at that. You got a perfect pocket there for him to step up. He has enough space, seriously, to probably run about 15, 20 yards if he wants to. And this slot guy could block that guy down the field. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. That's literally how I'm sure Lombardi drew it up. Look at that. That's an easy, like what, 20 some yard, almost
20.
30 yard completion.
It was about a 20. About an 8. I think it was. Hold on, let me go back.
Yeah, that's
They
fine.
start
But
off-
look, they pick up the stunt. Two
They
guys
start off
bail
with the
out.
11.
Two guys bail out. Yeah. Two guys bail out. And the offensive line did it correctly. That's how you're supposed to do it, right? You're supposed to communicate.
Yeah, about a 25-yard catch.
When you're supposed to communicate where guys are moving to. That way you don't panic and chase and miss, right? So
Dan, in my opinion,
perfectly.
in this right here, this is where Trey Pipkins, I think, has grown as a right tackle. Watch Trey Pipkins on this play. The recognition that he has.
Yeah, kick step. He kicked outside because he was so wide, and then he's ready and he sits. Yeah, exactly.
The other thing is Zion was
him. Yeah, and that's the thing that you're supposed to happen, right? The biggest myth about offensive line play is you'll have some stooge tell you, "Oh, all you got to do is hike the ball and just hit somebody," right? No, my guy, that's wrong. It's science. Literally, it's a science round because all it is, right? When you snap, I tell the offensive line you have 4 commandments, right? Fire off the football, pad level, be violent, and run your feet through contact. That's how you successfully block and move people against their will in the run game. The biggest thing that people have a misconception about is like, even in the pass pro, right? It's all about leverage and angles, right? If he starts kicking super wide out towards this edge guy, like 5 yards away from him, he's going to open up the inside, right? So he does the right thing in kicking for depth, and that closes off the inside to him, and it forces him to go outside. So seriously, this is probably one of the best pockets I've seen this year.
And Herbert's only been sacked 10 times this season. That's the NFL lowest this year. So I think the Jaguars are second lowest with 12 on Trevor Lawrence. But that's positive. I mean, only 12 sacks. And the thing is that this offensive line is better when Corey Linsley's there.
That's big facts.
It just everything is so much better when Corey Linsley's there. Here's a new one. This is let's see. This is another third down play.
Oh, look how they're right over the guards in the center right here. Boom. Do we get a stunt? Oh, no, it looks like this guy. Oh, there's the stunt. But look how they don't panic, dude. That's my favorite part, right? See, like, again, here we go. Offensive line enthusiast, everybody. Go back real quick if you can. This is just poetry and freaking motion, dude. Look at the way they pass them off to each other. Like, this is the thing when like, these guys have been working together and they understand each other. Look how Zion Johnson recognizes, oh, shoot, he's going away from me. So what does FBI tell me? If my guy goes away, someone else is coming, right? They're not just going to leave you alone just because. And those stunts, right? If you notice also, the way that defensive lineman stunts on Zion is to drag him across to go towards the center, hoping he sticks with him. And that looper, which is Jared, I think, 97, he would be essentially wide open if he doesn't recognize that right there to rush Herbert and tip the ball, if not get a sack or a QB hit.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Thank you, I've been talking too long, dude.
I
get fired up when I'm talking about the Hogs, my boy.
When I speak to Cam Inman from the San Jose Mercury News, he's a compa. I met him through Gilbert. He's a great guy, covering the 49ers for years and years. Such a great guy. So let's go to Cam Inman. And man, when I tell you this guy knows everything about the 49ers, he's going to have everything for us. So now let's go to Cam and see what he's got for us. Folks, this man pulls double duty, not only with the COMPAS, but he does it obviously covering the 49ers. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Cam Inman, San Jose Mercury News, 49ers NFL reporter. Cam, thank you so much. You've already done 2 shows with Gilbert. Now we bring you on because it's Sunday night football, 49ers, Chargers. Cam, thank you so much. How you been?
Yeah, welcome back to the Northern California Bureau of NFL football.
Exactly.
Right? The Niners are going for the back-to-back LA wins, right? I mean, they beat the Rams to sweep the series, and then they get the bye week, and now they're going to try to beat the Chargers. But
no, definitely. And I mean, let's go to that Rams game. I mean, it was just I told Gilbert, this is how I felt like they did. So you have no Deebo Samuel. So what do? You turn to Christian McCaffrey and you say, hey, we're going to need you to be our Deebo Samuel. and it was a one-man wrecking crew, and he really with his arm, with his legs, and with his hands was able to take it to the Rams. Is that kind of what you saw as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. Like, can McCaffrey do better in a game? I mean, he produced 3 touchdowns via the run, via the pass, and via the catch, and it's just like, okay, so that's pretty good. But he shouldn't have to be the one-man band. I mean, that's kind of like, so now going into this game, they have their whole offensive arsenal, and that includes bringing back Elijah Mitchell, their season opening starter at running back. I mean, he was their leading rusher as a rookie last season, and it was almost I don't want to say by default because that discredits what he did, but like we all saw that he was probably the best running back in camp as a rookie. So now you put him in the mix with Debo and McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk's playing the best he's ever played in year 3, and then George Kittle's really come on in the last month because he missed the first couple of games with a groin injury. So all of a sudden, everybody goes, all right, well, here you go, Kyle Shanahan. If you're such an offensive genius, let's see what you can do. And so when he played the Rams, he goes, do you like that? Okay, that's just one guy. Now I got like 5 guys. And Kyle's thing is, I don't have to reinvent the offense. You don't reinvent plays. It's all he's like, that's true, but now you got to use other chapters in your playbook where you didn't think you'd ever get to. And so, I mean, I wrote a story this week. My first story of the week when I came off the bye was, how do the Chargers, counter that? Because you think all high and mighty from the Niner angle, but it's like, well, what is it? Last summer we were down there, right, for training camp.
Yes, sir.
And there was a guy named Derwin James that was all over that defense, making plays. And he was going toe to toe with Kittle on one-on-one routes, but then he made an interception on a goal line throw, and he's just everywhere. And I'm like, the beauty of that is, and this is how Brandon Staley will describe it, is he has a chess piece to try to match, the Niners. It's all chess pieces, right? And now you have Derwin James that can go, he can rush the passer. He can line up other places. And some of the Niners were comparing him to Jalen Ramsey's versatility, but I think Derwin James is a much better player right now than Jalen Ramsey. I think Jalen Ramsey's the last couple of years has kind of dropped off a little bit. The Niners have exposed him on some stuff, but I think Derwin James got paid to be the best safety in the game for good reason. The guy can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, and definitely. And this is the thing, Cam. I feel like the Chargers don't know what to expect. And I'm not saying that they don't know, obviously, the coaching staff, but like you said, Elijah Mitchell's coming back. You really didn't see a lot of Debo, and Christian had just gotten traded for. He had barely come in when they played Kansas City. But it just feels like they could throw so many things at him that the Chargers may not expect not expect. I don't want to, obviously I don't want to say that the Chargers don't know, but there's a lot of mystery, I think, going into this weekend,
right?
With what Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense can be.
And up here, I think the excitement is, yes, it's a good mystery. Like, how is he going to deploy what I've trademarked, the McDebo package?
Oh, wow.
McCaffrey and Debo. That assumes Debo is like fully healthy from his hamstring issue, which he looked like he was yesterday. And then how they incorporate the other players. But I mean, this offense is predicated on mismatches. And so wherever they, put Khalil Mack to rush the passer or Derwin James out there, the Niners have to look other places and say, oh, well, then we'll just go that way and we'll use that guy. It doesn't matter like who's lined up in that spot. That's the mismatch. And people forget that Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, right? This is the number one storyline for 9 months, whatever, that Jimmy Garoppolo is still on this team.
A full pregnancy, 9 months.
Yes, that's not, he's gone full term. And now they're giving birth to this. Is it what do you call 8 babies? Right? There's like babies everywhere. And now Jimmy Garoppolo's he's got to be the I can't go further with this, but he has to feed them all, right? I'm not going to say he's nursing everybody, but he's the one that has to make sure everybody's happy, and he can do it because I mean, Jimmy's best attribute is, besides like his ability to kind of be one of the guys and not be I'm above value of you, which I think is his best attribute. He has a good quick release, so he's going to be able to get the ball out fast. And when they were transitioning to Trey Lance at the start of this year, that this guy that they've drafted number 3 overall, dual threat quarterback, and they ran him and he broke his leg in the 5th quarter of the season. It wiped out so much of what they wanted to do on offense using a lot of just option looks in the backfield. And Jimmy's more of your pocket passer. And it actually, I mean, the way that by bringing in McCaffrey now, you don't have McCaffrey is the option guy, right? McCaffrey's going to be either running or receiving. He's such a great receiver. So it's a fascinating mystery, like you said. And it's something that every NFL team needs to have, that element of surprise of we don't know what to do, but we better be, I mean, when the bleep goes down, you better be ready. I believe is one of my credos in life, and Cypress Hill, respect. And so, I mean, the Chargers have to be ready for everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, one of those big chess pieces that obviously Brandon Staley and the Chargers are going to be missing, and obviously I think from a 49ers side, they're relieved, is Joey Bosa. There's going to be no Joey Bosa. This should have been the Bosa Bowl, the Bosa Brother Bowl. I saw your article on obviously on Nick and everything, and kind of what were his thoughts on his brother not being able to play this game?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because it's supposed to be a sibling rivalry, but I can't imagine 2 tighter siblings. I mean, these guys lived together. They lived together when Nick was recovering from his core muscle surgery before the draft in 2019.
You know what's funny? In 2019, Nick actually, so we were talking to Joey on Zoom. Nick popped his head in and he's like, "What's up, guys?" So it was hilarious. Like it's like the movie Step Brothers, but they're actually real brothers.
But you had a little too much of an inflection of a happy Nick. Nick is very subdued. He is like Spicoli. I'm just out there, you know, shredding quarterbacks and tasting waves, and you know, Stu. It's great. He is awesome. I really enjoy. I mean,
both of them.
Person aside, I've covered this team for 22 years. So you know when there's a special player on that football field that is so professional and regimented in his routine and takes everything so seriously, but he's also supporting teammates, like, you know, encouraging guys, giving them tips where it's not all about me, when it really should be, because he's the best player on their team. And they're missing a lot of guys on the defensive line next to him because Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw, their defensive tackles, aren't playing. They haven't played most of the year. And then Samson Ebukam, who came over from the Rams a couple of years ago, he's had an Achilles issue like this season. He hasn't produced really well and hasn't been terrible, but and then he hurt his quad in Monday's like 30-minute, like, let's get out and stretch after the bye week practice. So much is on Nick on that defensive front to dominate, and every team is just going to send a running back or a tight end to chip him along with the tackle.
Same as Joey.
Right. And they're different guys. I remember this last year when we were down there for the joint practices. It's their leverage and how they use their hands. I mean, they're not necessarily clones of each other, which is cool because they're both really dominant defensive ends. And they're still just, I mean, it would have been really cool to see the Bosa Bowl, like you said. So we talked to Nick this week. I talked to him last week during the bye week about just being an NFL Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Because, like, the NFL gets so consumed with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons and, Matthew Judon leads the league in sacks, so he should be in the conversation, but he's really not because people don't like the Patriots. Well, people forget about the Niners. So here's the deal. In summary, Nick Bosa needs to have a massive game in the Sunday night spotlight against, the Chargers. And then next Monday night, they're going to be in Mexico playing the Arizona Cardinals again with the NFL spotlight. Sí, senor. So,
there you go.
Nick Bosa must go grande and, get on everybody's radars. But the beauty about Nick is like, I really could care less about as long as I win a Super Bowl, I could care less about anything else. And it's a cliche, but it really resonates because the guy's been to the Super Bowl and lost and cried tears on a losing sideline. That's all that matters in pro sports, is to win the championship. He's going to get paid like crazy after this season. He might become the NFL's highest paid defensive player.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he needs that breakout game, and he hasn't necessarily had it. He's had multi-sack games. He played well in the playoffs at Green Bay, just to get Aaron Rodgers all flustered again. And he had a couple big games his rookie year against Carolina and Cleveland. But other than that, and this is how you probably want your pro to be. You want to be consistent and, get a sack or two a game, but constantly providing pressure. You don't need a multi-sack, multi-turnover game unless you really want to get higher on the national radar, which I think sets up for him this week and next week against Kyler Murray, the little squirrel.
It's so much fun to watch Nick and Joey. And I mean, like I said, I've been covering Joey since he came in as a rookie, and there he was really quiet, didn't like speaking to the media. Right around 18, I mean, I spoke to him just about like Star Wars and other stuff, and then in 18 he started really warming up to the media, and you're like, wow. And now he's one of the best talkers on the team, and he gives you so much stuff. And during the training camp, he comes up and he's like, oh my God, the fans. And I'm like, what do you mean? And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, they're screaming Joey, and he like just starts doing like imitating the fans, and he's like, I gotta talk to these guys first, who I'm happy to talk to, then I'll go talk to you guys. And so it's just funny. They're different, they have no expressions, but they're really good.
Well, and it's like they don't have to, I mean, they're not there to say a lot, but they will slip in one or two sentences in each media session where you go, it's this uber confidence, but also this really great insight that they learned from their family, obviously through their dad and their uncle having played, and that they're just made for this, and that they want to be the best at their profession. I mean, it's very admirable. So,
like Joey last year on Monday Night Football, he called out he's like, the officials are just idiots, they're blind. And we're like, oh my God. And then he goes and says, yeah, if you hit Derek Carr, he rolls up into a little ball and he can't take
but they're telling the truth.
No, they are. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I had a one-on-one with Nick before the season where he said some things and I'm like, I can't put that in. That's like it would create, it wouldn't. Yeah. But I mean, they don't mean to be like,
no. They're brutally honest. And that was the funny part on last week when I watched the Rams and 49ers. He sacks Jimmy G in one of those. He looks at the camera and he's he's smiling, like Joker smiling and just doing his sack dance. Nick is, and I'm like, oh, you can tell he's enjoying, like, because they were already up, and I'm like, you can tell he's enjoying this every second of this of them blowing him out. So that's the fun part. But
so how is Justin Herbert going to do with him? Is he going to be able to dodge him? Are his ribs healthy finally? Do they have a tackle that can protect him? What's the deal?
So I think that Justin is starting to get healthy. He was running around a little bit more against the Atlanta Falcons. You can tell the bye week helped him. The only thing is Keenan Allen and Mike Williams probably aren't going to go, and it's kind of like, okay, you're going to ask the reserves again to step up. But I mean, to me, I don't know how you see it. The 49ers defense to me swarms, and I think they're going to be all over him. They're going to be all over these receivers. I just don't know how they're going to put up points. And I know obviously I'm not an offensive coordinator or anything, but I wouldn't want to be this weekend, especially against the 49ers. But I just think that they're gonna swarm.
So the Rams had some success in the first half by throwing a lot of screens at this.
Yeah, but that's with Cooper Kupp and
right. But the Niners are so aggressive with their defensive ends, they suck them in, and then they figure out ways to run past them without them looking. So I mean, the Niners have figured that out. They had a bye week to fix that.
Yeah.
They're getting their they have a great linebacker crew with Fred Warner, San Diego, North County guy.
Yep,
right?
Mission Hills.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fred's doing well. And then they have a pretty good. I mean, the defense is ranked number 1 for yards allowed, but Patrick Mahomes destroyed it a few weeks ago, which means Justin Herbert, if he's dialed in and finds guys, like if I'm him, I'm going to Eckler a lot. Maybe the tight end some, and then I'm taking a couple deep shots because it's the NFL and cornerbacks are meant to fail, no matter who you are.
That's been the problem since Keenan and since Mike has gone down. They don't go down the field. They don't have the receivers to do it.
Right.
So it's been because the top 3 receivers are out. Jalen Guyton was their speed guy that would go down the field.
Yeah.
Torn ACL. Mike has the ankle, and then Keenan has the hamstring. So that's been a lot of the frustration with Charger fans that they're like, hey, why aren't we throwing down the field? Well, the thing is, you can't because he doesn't kind of have the receivers to do it. But I mean, there's a lot of offensive and defensive coordinators on Twitter, and they try and tell you how to how to coach the team. But yeah, no, it's
Well,
interesting to watch.
If there is a number 2 in a 49er uniform, Charger fans will be well aware of who he is, and that's Jason Verrett.
Is he playing this?
At this point, at this point, we don't know. It is
wow.
man, Jason has a lot of respect in the 49er locker room around the league, which he's earned it because of how his approach to the game and how he's battled through these injuries and rehab. I mean, he's played like one game each of the 3 of the last 4 years. He played 13 games in 2020, but he tore his ACL week 1 last year. Obviously, he had the leg injuries in the Chargers. And like the math is like, it's unbelievable. It's like, I did it the other day. I'll print it out somewhere, but he's like missed 95 of the last 115 games with leg injuries. And it's just, he's trying to get back. They got him off, they activated him off IR before the bye. And he's practicing. So they need him. Charvarius Ward, that used to play with the Chiefs, he's been a free agent gem that they got this year. He's been the best free agent they've had in a long time. I really like him. And obviously he's familiar with the Chargers.
Yeah.
And if Justin Herbert's familiar with him, he's not going to go after him because he's pretty sticky and aggressive in coverage. So you would probably test Verrett, or you'd test Diamador Lenore, a second-year guy out of LA, grew up in LA, who's struggled. He's given up a lot of catches. And Jimmy Ward, he should be playing safety, but they're down a nickelback, and so he's back to playing nickel right off of he had hand surgery a few weeks ago. But Jimmy's a guy that is veteran savvy too. So I don't know. I would just say the Niners defense, I think they need a couple of takeaways to kind of, I think the Niner defense is going to be the one that rises up this game. Because like you said, the Chargers are down with like receivers, and if you can just key on Eckler and getting to Herbert, that's your success.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. The Chargers have fallen behind in each of the last 4 games. They've fallen behind 10-0, 17-0, 13-0, and it's like they fall behind, then they come back and they start marching up. They're like, Seattle took it to them, Jacksonville took it to them. And that's what I was going to ask you about the 49ers. It's kind of been a weird year. I think they're a little bit similar, where like the 49ers have some losses that you're like, how did like the Atlanta one I give them because obviously they had a lot of players injured that game.
They did have a lot of players injured.
So they lost in Chicago.
They lost in Chicago in a monsoon in the season opener. But you're right. It's been inconsistent, but they have enough players back right now, and they're refreshed after the bye, where they all talk about that they're going to go on the second half run. And that's locker room common stuff that you need to have that confidence. But the Niners have gone to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years in 2 vastly different ways. In 2019, on the way to the Super Bowl, they started 8-0, and then they just coasted through there, right? Get the first seed, and you're in the bowl. Last year, they were 3-5 at the midway point. They were terrible. This year, they're 4-4, not much better. So they kind of can lean more on last year's adversity, going, we know that every game matters, and we have to have that urgency to win. Although the NFC stinks. I mean, it is wide open. They know that.
It's so crazy.
And like the NFC East will come back down to earth. The Seahawks, the Niners have beaten them once already. So I'm pretty sure that they feel that they can go into Seattle and win. It's not as daunting as when Russell was up there. And the Chargers are right in it too. It's like as bad as the Chargers have been wild and up and down and fumbling with a minute to go and somehow recovering that ball.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes the football gods look down on you, and maybe a quarterback in Buffalo will be out with an elbow injury. And then it's like, oh, okay, he's gone. And then if somebody upsets the Chiefs along the way, it's like, why not us? I mean, it's all set up for parity for that.
And that's what I've been telling Charger fans, because like Charger fans are like, they were jumping off craziness a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, all you have to do, if you're 5-5, when you go into 5-5, when you go into Arizona, and maybe you get Joey, Mike, and Keenan back, you can go on a run at the end of the season and get hot, especially with those 2 guys back. If they're healthy and everything, you can make a run, especially, I mean, in the AFC, it's going to be a little bit tough, but still, you can go on a run. You can try and maybe get that 7th seed or the 6th seed, and you can definitely go on a run. But obviously, I mean, Keenan's been out almost a whole year, and Mike just picked up that injury. But I'm not gonna make it too much longer for you, Cam. Thank you so much for this. Just I got a couple more questions.
Yeah.
And this is more off season. Well, no, I'll ask you first. Who you got? You got the 49ers in this game, correct?
I do. I think I took
Okay.
Niners 28-19, and I put it under 20 for the Chargers because they've won the last 5 meetings and scored over 20 in all 5.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, no, I think I said like 38 21
Yeah, I don't think their offense is that crazy. So
okay, well, I thought they were a little nuts,
well,
but
we'll see. I mean, it's like you got to shake them up after the bye, right? It's like either they're going to be gangbusters or they're going to be like, "Oh, these guys are sleepwalking through this." So
that's true. 2 more questions, real quick. Yeah. In the off season, if a certain number 12 is free, from Tampa Bay, and he's a free agent.
Yes.
Do you feel like the 49ers would consider, if they didn't win the Super Bowl, they were a game away from the Super Bowl, or they lost in the Super Bowl, do you think they consider maybe bringing him home?
Yeah. I mean, this is a storyline for me next month when Tom Brady comes home to the Bay Area. I absolutely, because I mean, like the way things are going in Tampa and the way his life is, I think he would love to like just come back. And you know, when there was talk 2 years ago whether he might come to the Niners, it didn't make sense to me on a couple fronts. One being, you know, he had his family, the kids, they were East Coast, and it was like it's such a hard. It would be hard too next year if he did that. And then, you know, the Niners had Jimmy Garoppolo just take him to the Super Bowl. Okay, he didn't do it by himself, obviously. He was not the Peyton Manning of that team. But it's hard to get rid of a guy that won an NFC championship and that everybody likes. If they didn't like him and said, this guy, we had to cover his ass to get all the way there, it wasn't like that. It just they won differently than other teams do. And that's still the case. So the thing is, Jimmy controls his own destiny. He's not the Niners' mercy anymore because he has a no-trade clause. He will be a free agent the way his contract was reworked before the season to come back and be the backup to Trey Lance. So if they make the Super Bowl, I see Jimmy coming back. I see them Niners extending him, saying, let's just keep this going. You and Trey get along. We'll see. You know, it's like we won't have to rush him back. And like they saw a little bit of him, but they still don't know what Trey Lance can do. But it's not enough to assure you that, yes, he is absolutely going to be our stud for the next 10 years. Right? Yeah. Nobody's saying that right now because nobody knows still. Do you keep Jimmy for another 10 years? The guy's 31 years old, so probably not, maybe a few more years. Or do you take the chance with Tom? And it's like, how are his skills? How would he fit in the Kyle Shanahan system? When I think that, oh, no, they wouldn't make that move. I didn't think that they were going to trade for Christian McCaffrey. This is an offense that's had a different leading rusher all 5 of Shanahan's previous seasons. They go through 5 running backs a year because they all get hurt. So why would you invest this much in a running back? Well, McCaffrey's a running back / receiver, but he's special. And I get it. And I understand, like, they gave up 4 draft picks, none of them a first rounder for him. And so you think about it, go, okay, well, it does make sense. So does Tom Brady make sense? You can make any sense of it getting the greatest player of all time to come to your team. So it's like, you can't lose with whichever argument you want to go with. You can say, oh, he's too old, he stinks. Or you say, may as well throw him in there because there's so many good players around him where it's not all on him.
If he hoists the Lombardi trophy, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Tom Brady would be immortalized in San Francisco. That'd be incredible to see.
I mean, but Joe and Steve have set that bar. And it's like every quarterback has had to answer that curse for the last 20 years, whether they can do what they did, and nobody has.
And it's been tough. Yeah.
And they're around. Everybody, it's a ghost, right? Yeah. And I mean, Kaepernick was on top for a couple of years there. He's a different breed of player that could run. Like, I mean, he had a 90-yard touchdown run against the Chargers when they last time they were here. It was 2014. Yeah. And they blew a 21-0 lead and lost in overtime to the Chargers that game. So Cap had his flaws. Alex Smith had his. Jeff Garcia. They've had good quarterbacks. They've had some really bad quarterbacks. I think the Chargers should be lucky that they've had some really, really good quarterbacks over the years from, I mean, you can go back long time, right?
Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers.
I go back further to Fouts and
well, yeah. No, but I mean, in the last 20
No, I
in the
know.
last almost 30 years, you've had 20 years, you've had Drew Brees, you've had Phillip Rivers, Tyrod Taylor for one game, and then
and Herbert now.
Justin
So
Herbert.
yeah,
So, and that's the thing. Don't waste Justin Herbert. He's young. He's athletic. That's the message. But Cam, one more question. You were in San Diego. You had a California burrito. What was that like? What did you think about it?
First of all, why didn't you tell me that when you order it, you just say a Cali? Okay. When I say I'll have a California burrito, it's like a signal that I'm a Northern California
That's
invader.
my bad.
Okay.
I completely
So you say,
forgot
give
to
me
tell you
Cali.
that.
Right?
Yeah, Cali. Yeah.
Okay. That place was really good. It's busy, right? So it's a lot of traffic flow. That's the secret's out on it. This is in Point Loma, right? What's it called? Loma
Ortiz's Taco Shop.
Yeah. Now there's another one it's in Point Loma. So I have a daughter that goes to Point Loma, right? She's a freshman. And so we've discovered this gem of an area. But there's another burrito place a couple blocks closer to campus called La Perla. And
wow.
I recommend that. Go in there and order a Cali.
Okay, a Cali.
Actually, you could even order a California burrito because I don't think they're so snooty. They're totally good with it. So,
but what did you? I mean, people don't realize it's like French fries. It's meat. It's cheese. I'm like, it's like, yeah, the combination's a little weird, but it's like one of the best things you'll ever have.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, it's like the flavor of the carne asada it's authentic like that, and like because it's Southern California does Mexican food so much like better than like it's just the tortilla, the beans, everything is so much. The flavors are so much better in there, and then up here it's just kind of like they stuff it with some rabbit food and just like say, there you go, there's your healthy wrap. I was like, give me a Cali. Let's go.
And Cam is headed to Mexico City.
No, I'm not going to Mexico.
Oh, you won't be going to Mexico?
No. But I'll be going to I'm going to Colorado Springs next week for practice instead. No Mexico.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, it's too bad because I think we really should go, but it's out of my control. I fought that fight. It's a Monday night game, which aren't easy to cover anyhow, especially on deadline. So
the next time you're in San Diego, let me know. We'll go check out some news spots.
Yeah,
I'll get some news spots for you so you can check out a little bit more places. But I appreciate you so much, Cam. You brought the knowledge. You gave us everything we need to know to preview Chargers versus 49ers this weekend. Go follow Cam Inman at Cam Inman on Twitter. He also is he's one of the best on Instagram as well. Go check out his Instagram. It's great stuff. He has everything.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Instagram's at 49ers.cam, so it's kind of easy too.
49ers.cam. Okay.
So yeah, hit me up like with questions during the week if anything. And always good talking to you. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, Cam. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Dan, really good stuff from Cam. I mean, he's, like I said, he's been there for a while. He knows exactly what's going on with this 49ers team. They go and they get Christian McCaffrey. You already have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and you have George Kittle. And that's going to be difficult this weekend to go up against. And that's why today we asked Brandon Staley, hey, what's it going to be like having to go up against all those pieces that the 49ers have now, especially after the trade for Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, Bridget, that's where the game is now, is to have those type of chess pieces, and you try to have them on all three phases of your team. And I know defensively, that's how we've always tried to design our defense. You know, since I've been a defensive coordinator, you have to have those chess pieces that give you the flexibility to match up with offenses like this. And these guys can line up anywhere, and they can do a lot of different things. They can catch the ball, they can run the ball, they can block. And so you need to have players on your team that can mirror that, and you can use your players as chess pieces to be aggressive. And so we're lucky that we have some players like that on our team, and we're going to need them because those three guys you mentioned are really good players.
So obviously, Brandon speaking about how dangerous those three guys are, and in a sense, I guess this defense, the Chargers defense, kind of mirrors a little bit of what the 49ers. I mean, the thing is, the Chargers haven't been good against the run. They've blown, and then the last 4 games, they've given up big leads in the first quarter. If you give up a big lead to the 49ers, you're not going to come back from that. The 49ers are one of these teams that are going to put you away. The crowd is going to be hyped. They're excited because this is going to be, they got some guys back. They're getting McCaffrey back. I don't know about you, but maybe the Chargers defense could line up well against the 49ers. I mean, you have Derwin, who's obviously versatile. He can go up against anybody. Mike Davis, I know some people, he has had criticism in the past. There has been some bad play, but as of late, he hasn't played bad. So his speed will come into consideration. I asked Brandon today, would you consider throwing him up against George Kittle and maybe having Derwin go up against somebody else? And he's like, well, yeah, Mike is a guy that we feel like with his size, he can go up against almost anybody in the league and kind of be able to cover them. So that might be an option that they have. And then obviously you have Asante Samuel Jr., who I'm sure is going to be on Brandon Ayuk most of the night. That's kind of how I kind of see it. And then you just throw in Bryce Callahan's going to be key. Also, Nasir Adderley, some of these guys, but the Chargers have an athletic defense. It's just can they hold it together? Can they keep it together? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? Like we've seen defensively,
staying
right?
Disciplined.
You're saying that it's like we always say to our players, right? Do what your coach should do. We're not asking you to cure cancer, split an atom, and discover a nuke. We just need you to do X, Y, Z, and obviously we expect you to do X, Y, Z because we know you're capable of it, right? Like you brought up Michael Davis. Michael Davis is a perfect instance, right? You know that guy has tremendous talent in the sense of physical skills, but his technique has always just been off. Like he can keep up, in my mind, he can keep up with any receiver ever. Has perfect arm length, height, everything else, but his problem has always been technique because he either gets beat on like double moves or he's behind and he has to catch up and then it's a PI or things like that. You know what I mean? Like that's just a little nuanced things that you always have to come up clutch in. And the other thing is, are you going to be disciplined? Because in my mind, if sometimes, I think it was last game where you have Alohi and Adderley both being like having deep coverage and they get beat. It's like, how are you going to get beat at the safety position if you're already like, I don't know if they line up 10 or 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage or whatever it be, because obviously I'm with the Hogs, that's a different thing. But if you're that far already ahead into your deep coverage, there's no reason why you should get beat. You get beat because you're looking in the backfield and not reading your keys.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one of the guys, I mean, there's 3 guys on here that are former LA Rams. They know about the 49ers. The Rams haven't been good against the 49ers, but they know a little bit about them. Sebastian Joseph Day, Morgan Fox, and Troy Reeder, linebacker. And it was funny because I asked Sebastian Joseph Day, I'm like, hey, do you have a little bit of hatred towards the 49ers? He's like, I'm not even going to entertain that question. I was like, oh, okay, well, because, Trent Williams said a couple of weeks ago, I hate the Rams. Yeah. I just got here last year, the year before. He's like, and I already hate the Rams, so I wanted to see if maybe Sebastian.
Well, that's real football right there. That's a division rival. Yeah. You don't want to be kissing and hugging pre or post game. Yeah. I would want to stomp out their guts into the next century.
So here's Sebastian Joseph Day on the San Francisco 49ers.
Just try to tell the room. I think Fox and I both try to just tell, like, at least our room, how fast and how physical it's going to be. It's going to be a fast and physical game. You got to play fast. You can't be caught with your, and even Troy was saying earlier, you can't get caught with your cleats not on the ground. They'll punch you in the mouth, and yeah.
So that's the thing. They're very well coached. They're very well coached. They have, an innovator on offense, whether you like it or not. My problem against Shanahan is that I think he chokes, but it is what it is. But that's the thing, right? In my mind, this might be a hot take. I think both of these teams have been similar all year. You have 2 teams with, I think, with very good rosters, I think the 49ers had enough hype, but, and they just underperformed as the season has gone. Like, you blow out, you blow a lead to the Browns. You have other games where you just don't show up. And it's the same thing has been with the Chargers. The Chargers are just luckier in the sense that they've won one more game than the 49ers have.
Well, and I mean, you go with that, Dan, and my bad. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Look at some of the losses that the 49ers
they both have injuries. They both have injuries.
At Chicago, at Denver, at Atlanta and versus Kansas City. They got blown out by Kansas City 44-23. They essentially lost to Atlanta by 2 touchdowns. They lost to Denver by 1 point, and they lost to Chicago by 9 points. But they obviously blew out the Rams. But 4-4. I mean, you obviously expect more from this team, but they're a good solid team, and they're gonna have their hands full when they come back. They after this game, they go against Arizona. They have 3 straight home games: Chargers, Arizona, New Orleans. Wait, what? They have 5 straight home. No, this has to be wrong. Yeah, this is definitely wrong. No, it said that they had 5 home games. ESPN is saying that they have 5 home games in a row. There's no way that's true.
Maybe they talked to Roger, dude. Who knows?
Well, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh crap. Okay, then yeah, they actually may have
7 home games in a row.
5 home games in a row. Let me check another website. But yeah, no, definitely the 49ers have their work cut out for them. They're gonna be a strong team. They're gonna be a physical team. They that I knew that was wrong. So they do have 3 in a row, but it's gonna be so they play the Chargers at Cardinals. They come home for the Saints, the Dolphins, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All those games are gonna be tough for them. So they need to start carving out some wins. And the Chargers are on the same boat. It doesn't get any easier for the Chargers after this game. They have to play the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, at Cardinals, at Raiders, Dolphins. So it doesn't get any easier for either one of these teams. So when you say that they're similar, they really are similar. The only thing is obviously is that you're saying that they're similar because of obviously one thing, which is they both kind of teeter and they sometimes play up to opponents or
Play
they
down.
play down to opponents, stuff like that. The other thing that's similar too, Dan, is they do have they both have a Bosa brother on this team. Now let's go to Brandon Staley, and what are some of the things that he's noticed about hold on. What are some of the things that he's noticed about the similarities between Joey and Nick Bosa?
Yeah, they were the same number. They had the same name.
This guy.
Dominant players. They're different players, I think, in terms of their style, but the result is the same. You got to be aware of them every snap, run game and pass game. Nick he's an outstanding complete edge player. You know, he's very physical. He makes a lot of big plays. Plays with a motor. I think that sometimes when you have special players, you don't ever take for granted that they play really hard. Nick plays really hard, just like Joey. That's a superpower of both of theirs. And so a lot of respect for Nick, and been watching Nick for years, and he's going to bring out the best in us for sure.
So before I continue, Trey Pipkins is day-to-day. He did not practice Wednesday. They won't know if he'll play on Sunday, which would be a huge loss, especially with Nick.
Obviously
they're going to put Nick over whoever the hell is
exactly, and that's where I bring all the pressure.
So yeah, there's a lot of similar. Nick and Joey are just they're so similar. They speak similarly. They're both just great guys. I've known Joey for a long time, and Joey's a good guy, very very fun to talk to. So he definitely interesting. It does suck that Joey's not going to be in this game, just because obviously it'd be fun to see both these guys haven't played against each other.
The fun for now. I need my edge rusher back already, dude.
Okay, well, yeah, that too.
But I'm just storylines and Hilberto's deadlines. I need him back, dude.
So obviously, both of these guys are monsters. I mean, Nick in 4 seasons, Nick already has 33 sacks, and that's with missing the 2020 season with a torn ACL. Joey has 59.5 sacks in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. He has almost 60 sacks, so that's close to 10 per year. He just had that. He's had 2 years where he's missed due to injury, which is this year and in 2018. Both of those when he had that foot problem. But other than that, I mean, Joey's had solid, consistent numbers. He's been a great pass rusher. So, and then obviously, today Brandon was asked, is Joey a little bummed out that he's not going to be able to play on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, Joey, you guys know Joey. Emotion isn't really a part of his equation.
Exactly.
He's pretty he's pretty flatlined. But I know that he would love to be out there to compete, and give our team a chance to win. And there is that brotherly love that, hey, I'm going against my brother and I want to show the world that, that I'm one of the best. So, hopefully we'll get that opportunity again for him. And, I think it's a cool storyline that, they're both having, great careers.
Absolute dog.
And they really have. I mean, Joey, I remember Joey would always tell us, oh, my brother's going to be better than me. My brother's going to be better than me. You always thought, oh, that's big brother protecting little brother. But I mean, Nick has had an incredible career so far. He's been a monster. He's gone to a Super Bowl. I remember Joey. I saw Joey in Florida, in Miami at the Super Bowl. And I asked him, oh, what do you think about Nick being in the Super Bowl? He's like, yeah, he would get everything that he wants. Rookie year and in the Super Bowl. He's like, I'm over here fighting and everything. And, oh, there goes Nick in the Super Bowl the first year. So Joey's just a great guy, funny guy.
Yeah, I love him.
But it's going to be interesting. I mean, like you said, the offensive line is going to be interesting. How they're going to defend, how they're going to defend these guys, how they're going to decide.
Because their front line, their front seven is no joke, dude. You got freaking Fred Warner over there who will come on pressure. He's a great run stuffer. So
and Daygo kid.
Exactly. Shout out Mission Hills, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Before Dan, I want to give a special shout out because I don't think these guys get enough love. Before we continue, I don't think our guys get enough love. It's Adrian Garcia Marquez and Francisco Pinto. Yeah. Here's their call on Sunday of Khalil Mack's strip. And Dan, you're gonna get hyped on this one. Here's the strip on from Khalil Mack on Drake London. Listen to this.
Bro, that's a fresh jacket.
Ambos lados, gemelos. Para allá voltea a la izquierda primero. Tiene completo el pase con Drake London. Y los Chargers se la quitan, le roban el balón y hay oportunidad. Tremenda estafa. Y es de Khalil Mack. Quítense. Mack attack. Te roba el alma también.
The last part.
Así nomás. Dámela. Drake London no sabía lo que es tratar de quedarse con la pelota cuando Khalil Mack te la quiere quitar y nunca la protegió como la tenía que proteger. Y acá termina esta ofensiva de los locales con una jugada muy a lo Khalil. Esa es de lo más Mack que vas a encontrar.
Mack.
You see Brandon sprinting over there?
That kind of reminds me when he said se la arrancó.
Exactly.
That kind of reminds me of El Perro Bermúdez when he's like, se acaricia como se acaricia la novia.
Exactly. Dude,
the ball or whatever.
Yeah, the part that made me laugh when he goes, se lo robó como le robó el alma or something like that.
Yeah,
he steals his soul. That was hilarious, dude.
This is such a great clip by Francisco and by Adrian, two of the best. Obviously, they're huge compas for us, but it is just a hilarious clip to hear them go through it. Because I mean, obviously, Adrian comes up with all kinds of stuff.
Look at him running, dude. Let's go.
I think he calls Justin Herbert el Principito Azul or something like that. El Principito or something like that. Yeah, so it's definitely hilarious. And like you said, that's a nice jacket that Adrian has.
Yeah. I just love
to Southern California from South Bend. There were two of the guys that, hey dude, whatever you need, we're so happy to have you back. First game against the Raiders, they asked me to go into the booth and break down the game, preview the game with them. So two of the best in the business. Love both of those guys, and that was a fun call to hear.
Yeah, I love the way Francisco is just seated and he goes, Dámela! Dámela! That was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, no, it's a great clip. But back to the 49ers preview. I just wanted to give a little shout. I know we're a little random here, but that's the beauty about this. We're a little random. we do things a little
We got love to
unorthodox.
spread. We got love to spread. There's no problem. We don't have a stooge
Exactly.
holding us back today. We have no anchor. We're good to go.
All aboard.
Hilberto! The Dan and Daygo train, the Compa train.
So basically one other element, Dan, and speaking about that defense is, I mean, Jason Verrett may play this weekend, and he's a former
That's all I
Charger.
need. That's all I need for the football gods to put him back and just start laughing at the chaos that's going to happen.
Dan, my cause of concern, and I'm sure you're going to share the same sentiment with me, is that this weekend there is a possibility there may not be a Keenan Allen. Brandon Staley said, "Oh, we're going to find that out on Friday or Saturday. Who knows?"
Yeah,
but I just don't see Keenan. Maybe for the 49er game, him and Mike may be able to come back, but I just don't. I think this may be too soon.
It is.
So I don't think they play. My
problem is my bad. I cut you off.
Go ahead. No,
because
go
the
ahead.
problem is right now you have two options right now. You risk it to try and catch Kansas City,
yeah,
but you have the possibility of losing them the rest of the year, right? And there goes your wild card spot. Or you play the long game, knowing you're most likely, if you make it, is going to be through the wild card.
Yeah, like I told you, these next 4 games they already won 1. These next 3 games you need to split. You need to go 2 and 2. 2 and 2.
Stay alive.
You stay alive, and now in the month of December, you're just gonna have to go.
You're 9-5. You're 9-5.
Win.
Oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. I added 4 games and only 2 losses, dude. I'm an idiot. My bad.
Yeah, no. So I know.
7-5. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess not terrible.
Well, not 7-5. No, they'd be.
Yeah, you said 4 games. You had 2-5. You had 2-3.
Yeah. So you'd be. I mean, and it's
not
one
terrible.
of those things you say. No, you'd be 6-5.
6. Yeah, 4. Because you already won 1. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Out to all the listeners, your boy Dan and Daygo is not a math major.
So it definitely that's gonna be the thing, is that they're gonna have to hold on. You're gonna have to hold on until those guys can come back. If you can get Joey back, if you can get, like we've said, Keenan and Mike, you may be in a good spot. But and that's the thing that concerns. So that's what I was gonna say. That what concerns me this weekend, you're gonna face a better secondary than Atlanta.
100%.
You're gonna face
a better front seven.
A better front seven overall. Everything's gonna be better.
100%, like steroids.
And this weekend, you're basically gonna go in with Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Gerald Everett, Michael Bandy, Austin Eckler, and this isn't a knock on them.
No,
I mean, not my bad. I said Austin Eckler and I said Gerald Everett. I'm talking about the receivers: Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Michael Bandy, and God, what's the other guy's name? Jason Moore. They're gonna have to step up again, and I just don't know if they're gonna be able to. I mean, this is gonna be a tough game. I think this game's gonna be more relying on Eckler, relying on Isaiah Spiller, relying on Sonny Michel. I think this is going to be more of a running game type of matchup, because, man, this game just looks very, very tough to me. I just don't see how they're going to be able to move the ball on offense. And maybe that's just me being a negative person, but this game to me just looks really tough for the Chargers. And before I get your thoughts on this, one other notion is, on the offensive side of the football, you're gonna have to, or on the defense, you're gonna have to defend against Deebo Samuel. And who knows more about Deebo Samuel than,
I said, Deebo's unreal. You know, he's everything. The wide receiver, running back, he could do it all. And he presents great challenges, especially now adding McCaffrey and having George Kittle. George is top tight end in the league. So, like I said, they have ballers everywhere, and there's nothing but respect towards them. So, it's not a game that we're taking lightly at all. And we just gotta go out there and execute. It's gonna be a tough, physical game for sure.
It is going to be tough and physical. I mean,
it is.
Is
it my turn? You want me to go?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Because real quick, right? This is might be an incendiary take, but I think if there's a game to prove yourself, Joe Lombardi as offensive coordinator, I think it's this one. Because if you can, obviously we understand that it's a difficult game. You might there's a good chance, there's a good possibility, you just don't have the players' injuries, whatever. You might lose, whatever, right? Excuses are like, yeah, I'm not going to go with that one. That one's vulgar. But excuses, everybody has them, right? You got to step up and do what you can. But the thing you cannot have in my mind, right? Because you've already seen kind of Chargers Twitter and everything else and how that snowball's starting to build, right? And I understand Twitter doesn't matter, but whatever. Fans, they start eating up the building. At some point, something's going to start falling. But what you can't have is a repeat performance like you had against the Jacksonville Jaguars, against the Seattle Seahawks, because you got outfoxed by 2 Super Bowl winning head coaches and probably made 0 adjustments at halftime possibly, and you had no answer. That's what you cannot have on Sunday, because quite frankly, this defense against this offense, it could get ugly pretty quickly, especially the way they've started off games. It can get ugly very quick. So, like, in my mind, this is the week where you really need to get these guys in a room, the Herberts, Ecklers, the Bandies, the Palmers, everybody, right? And be like, okay, what do you like? What are you comfortable with running? Because number one, you have to have all these guys on the same page. You can't just have a system, throw these guys out there and hope to God they all run it effectively and perfect. You know what I mean? You give them ownership over it, and they're going to want to run it effectively because they helped you in the process, if that makes sense. You put some skin in the game, and they're going to, balls to the walls play. And I think that's the biggest, milestone or check mark or whatever, the biggest goal you have to have for Sunday. You can't have another repeat performance where you just look like dog poo and you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Last one for Sebastian Joseph Day. He talks about Trent Williams and what he brings as a left tackle.
Like I said,
she has grittiness, toughness, speed, strength. He does it all, man, and it's pretty cool. Watching him on film, he does some defensive line moves on offensive line. It's crazy. I remember he hit me with a cross chop one time, a long time ago. I was like, damn, he's a real deal. He's a real deal. Trent's a real deal and a great player. And it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's how you know that's an experienced offensive lineman right there. Because, when you've played both positions, and I'm sure Trent has in high school at some point, that's, where you start just accumulating so much FPI because you understand what defensive linemen hate. So when you go on offensive line, you do exactly what they hate. Just like when you're on defensive line, you know what offensive linemen hate, and you do the exact same thing. That's where you start creating that FBI.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And Trent Williams is just he was a very good trade by the 49ers. Yeah. I think I remember the Chargers inquired about it. I think I remember, but obviously it was a lot. No, and the 49ers, the thing is the 49ers are willing to spend the draft capital. The Chargers in history aren't willing to do that. I mean, I'm sure it hurt the Chargers to trade for, or it hurt to give up a second-round draft pick for Khalil Mack. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Khalil Mack against Trent Williams. And by the way, for the folks that saw the injury report on Wednesday, do not freak out. Khalil Mack missed practice, but it was because of rest. It was just a Veterans Day off. Remember, the guy's been playing a lot. He's playing even more snaps because of the injuries that have happened to Chris Rump, to Joey Bosa. So it was just rest. So he'll be fine. The question marks are Keenan Allen. The question mark is Mike Williams. I'm pretty sure those guys aren't going to go. Trey Pipkins is another question mark. That'll be interesting. But yeah, no, I think we've covered it all. Cam Inman was a
I'll
great
tell you one
guest.
thing real quick. I'll tell you one thing real quick. If they put Frank Trent Williams in that like wing or hip formation again and motion his ass, just call it a freaking day, dude. That guy's gonna kill you. That's gonna be a bad day. Could you imagine he blocks a DB again doing that or something like that?
No, he's when they pulled that out last year in Green Bay, that was crazy.
Oh, that got me so fired up. You remember I was screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you were hyped. Dan, give me a fantasy player to watch for this weekend.
I think my fantasy player to watch. You think Samuel's going to be on Ayuk?
I think so. I think that's who he best matches up against. I think it might be Debo against Bryce Callahan or Derwin. I mean, Bryce is really he's so underrated. I think he's taken guys away, and I don't think it's been talked about enough. But I think they may put Bryce on Debo
That's
or
that's the
Derwin.
that's the fantasy player I'm gonna pick, Ayuk, and this is why. You already know the number one is either gonna be Debo, not Kelsey, my bad. Kittle, yeah, Kittle. I don't know why I had a stroke right there. I'm hanging around these kids too long. Debo, Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. So we already know those three are going to be like freaking DEFCON, 4 or whatever. I think it's reverse. No, DEFCON 1. I think who cares? Whichever one the worst DEFCON is. Like those are the guys that are going to be, hauling ass to cover and everything else. And I think Ayuk is going to be the main player to watch in the passing game. And I hate to say this, but I have him on my fantasy team. I'm probably going to start him, but it is what it is. I think that's the player you have to watch for, because if he's matched up on, the Nasser Adleys of the world, the Alohi Gilmans of the world, I'll even say Michael Davis from time to time, I think it's going to be, he's going to have a lot of good looks. A lot of good looks.
I'm going to go with I'm going to go I'm going to have to go with Christian McCaffrey. I think the problem is that the Chargers have given up a lot of run.
Safe.
They've been giving up a lot of rushing yards and a lot of big plays, and Christian is just so explosive. No, I know. Christian is just so explosive that I think he's going to end up pulling a 50-yard run or something in the first quarter where you're just going to be like, oh, here we go again. They do settle down, though. The Chargers at one point do settle down, but here you have to start off fast. You cannot give these guys a break. If not, it's going to just get rough for them. Dan, give me your X factor for either or whatever. You know what? No, I'm not going to let you. Who's an X factor for the Chargers?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to say it again. I said this, I think week 2 or 3 is Joe Lombardi. That's the X factor this week. If he can freaking,
I'm gonna get him a shirt that says Dan and Daygo's X Factor.
Exactly, because that's what it is, dude. Like seriously, you have to play to your player's strength, and I think that's been the problem all season. Where like you can't have say a Michael Bandy run Keenan Allen routes or Mike Williams routes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to get these players in positions to succeed, where what they're comfortable in, what they're good at, and you're just going to have them do it different sides of the field, different looks. So that's my thing. I think it's going to be, especially because, like I said again, you cannot have a piss-poor performance on offense like you did against the Seahawks, like you did against the Jags, because those are 2 Super Bowl winning head coaches. And here's a guy who's been to the Super Bowl twice.
Guy.
Oh, my God. I hate saying that now because of that scumbag. And then the worst part is his son is at it now, too.
Okay.
My God, but whatever. He is my X factor because like I said, it's going to get real loud, in my opinion, if you just can't do anything again like you did in those games. I'm trying not to be vulgar, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm going to go with Isaiah Spiller. I think it's
that's a good one.
I know that I know that they want to put in Sonny Michel. I think this is the game where you throw caution into the wind and you just see what Isaiah Spiller has. Who knows? Maybe he just has one of those games where you're just like, oh crap, okay, this guy came out of nowhere. That's how they found out Justin Jackson a couple of years ago when Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon were both hurt.
Against Pittsburgh,
in Kansas City and in Pittsburgh, he shined in both games. Yep. Why not just let him shine in this game? Give him the ball, see what he can do. I was going to go with Austin Eckler, but X Factor seems like somebody who comes out of maybe nowhere, and I think that this guy could be a guy that comes out of nowhere. All right, Dan, I know I'm going to hurt you, but give me your prediction for the game.
I think I was wrong last week. Oh, no, I was right last week.
You were right.
I think it's just tough, dude. You're on the road. Although they've been road warriors, but not
they're 3-1 on the road this year.
Yeah, but not with this many injuries.
And the Kansas City game was the only
loss. Yeah. I just think it's very tough against, arguably, I would probably say one of the top 10, if not top 5 defenses in the league. What are you giving me a yellow for? Let me go get my cards. Ready? I got you.
No.
Anyway.
Blowing a whistle at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, scumbag. Oh, is it really 10? Dang. Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to win at home.
Okay. I do too. I think it's going to be a blowout. I just don't think that.
Total scumbag.
Oh, I just don't see what way. just don't see how you can. Man, I keep on looking at the receivers, the 3 receivers. I
Totally
just
agree.
don't see
Totally agree.
how you're gonna be able to withhold and move the football up and down and even score the damn thing, unless, like I said, Isaiah
you don't have
Spiller
to
and
double
Austin
team.
Eckler go crazy and
You don't
they
have to
play
double
really
team.
well. Yeah.
You don't have to
So
double team.
exactly. So I just think that the 49ers are gonna go crazy. They're gonna be hyped. Fans are gonna be hyped, and I think the 49ers win. I'll say 38-21.
At least give them 21 points.
San
Or you
Francisco.
say all 21 are in garbage time.
No, I'll say that 14 are in 14 are in regular, and then they get 1 garbage touchdown. I just don't see how they can compete unless the 49ers because the 49ers have a history of stumping themselves,
Yeah.
like we've said. But I
Against
just
the
don't
Browns.
I just don't see it here. I think here they take control of the game early. They don't let their foot off the gas, and they try and show the
Because they're
world,
fighting
hey,
for a divisional spot too. Like they're fighting to win the
exactly,
division.
exactly.
They're,
And
they're
remember
in a better spot to do it.
and the thing is that in the morning, Seattle plays in Munich. So by the time the Chargers play the 49ers, they're gonna know if they're gonna because I think if Seattle loses, they're in a tie. They're in a tie. Well, yeah, they're 6-4, but in losses, they're tied with the 49ers.
Yeah.
So if the 49ers win, they're only 1 game behind, and I think Seattle goes into their bye week
They have a
this
bye or
coming
something,
week.
yeah.
So I mean, that's just that's going to be an interesting aspect to the whole thing. So yeah, but we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for checking out another episode of What's Up, Bolts. We appreciate Cam Inman jumping on with us and talking a little 49ers football. Like I said, he's a great guy, great human being. Go follow him on all things social media. His Instagram game is way better than mine. So he's a good guy to follow. And then also, don't forget to check out COMPAS. Gilbert and I break down the Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns fight, what that means, and especially now that Logan Paul's out, what that means for his future in WWE. And then don't forget to check out regular COMPAS. Dan, Gilbert, the Vic, the producer, and I, we had a good time talking a lot of different things. Why can Gilbert not go one? Why can't he let Dan and Daygo just speak? He always has to interrupt them. That's something that we try and get to the bottom.
He's intimidated.
Exactly. And guys, we have a little bit of a surprise coming up. Next week, we're gonna have a big announcement on something coming out. Possibly next week. I know you guys are probably thinking it's the hats, the merch. Not yet. These are just prototypes, but we may have something new in the works for something coming up in a couple of weeks. I mean, there's a big tournament coming up. So who knows? Maybe we have something cooking. You never know what the COMPAS are cooking up. So be on the lookout for that, especially if you're a fan of the most beautiful game in the world. Oh, I'm already saying too much. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. He is Dan and Daygo. I'm Fernando Ramirez. Stay safe. Have a great weekend and enjoy football, man. We're at the halfway point, and in a couple of months we'll be kicking ourselves saying, "Oh, we wish there was still some football." So enjoy it and
stupid baseball.
thank you guys so much again for checking us out.